I think you should put the starting. That's,
But put the song on. No? All right, welcome to our 10th episode of STOKR Insights.
Bitcoin pumping up. So that's the only thing I think we can start with. Yeah. It's fantastic. Bitcoin is growing, like the price is going up as we discussed last time. So I think quite happy, looking forward. We should break the all-time high this week.
Yeah, and I think it's a super interesting time. But there's also like when I followed up like the news recently, there are like different from all sides like looking into this. I think there are like ones that like the banks. I think specifically also in Europe, they are getting a little bit of FOMO. Not being able like to provide really good access to the Bitcoin price as like the US is like really like right now doing, and then the ECB, the European Central Bank, again bashing against Bitcoin. I think a few days ago they published like a blog where they put out again like the same narratives, the old narratives that I think I just have to put it somehow. I think it's the currency of evil, financing evil, right? And I think it's so funny that they don't get tired of bashing Bitcoin while like the whole world is realizing that maybe that's a very interesting asset class. And Arnab, I don't know whether you have seen it. I want to just like to share this quickly. So, especially for people who always claim that the volatility is so extremely high and the risks are disproportionate, and this is also like coming in the ECB article. So you see my screen, right? So here, I think it's very interesting post. He did like a nice post, Dylan. And he said, basically, when you do like dollar cost averaging from the day of the last high of Bitcoin, where it was like at around 69,000 US dollars, to today, you would have, and I think that's even like an old one. I think it's a few days old. So you would have around 115% return. When you did the same thing with the Nasdaq, it's only 30%, and then it goes really down. And the most interesting, I think, is again bonds. You would even have like a negative return, as bonds are always considered as like the safest investment. And I think everybody can make his own opinion on this one. I think it's very interesting here.
Yeah, I think like I was also going through the document and the opinion piece that ECB published. One key observation from me is they have referred to one article of 2020, which talks about the nexus between Tether and Bitcoin and how Tether manipulates the Bitcoin prices, which has been a core context of all this Bitcoin Tether FUD back in 2020, 2021, 2022. And that was the era of Tether FUD that we have seen in the past, right? Now, it's surprising and astonishing to see that ECB, being such a organization that is given the responsibility for monetary stability around Europe, they're actually referring to those kind of FUD articles, right? I'm not sure whether it is responsible or not. Another thing, the second point, which is also another observation, is the entire article does not talk about grid stabilization, contribution in employment, contribution in social developments of the Bitcoin mining companies. Because if you see from the Texas Grid Management Company, they talk a lot about the positive impact of mining entities over there. And this kind of discussions are completely missing. I'm not sure whether it's by deliberate reason or they just didn't have the time to research all these kind of things from ECB's research team. So yeah, I'm not sure how much credible those articles are. Hopefully they can do better stuff next time.
No, I think it's also like for me, it's also like a signifier of our times that I mean, even like the central bank is getting biased, right? So everybody is putting like just like one side of the narrative, and it's just repeating like one single thing out of like a very complex topic. This is the same thing with obviously with other topics in the world, from climate changes to wars and the like. But looking here in Bitcoin and always telling just like one single narrative, it shows also like how unilateral like the thinking is of the people, and how this is actually accepted by society. And I think this is a little bit shocking, but that's like how it is. It's like a very controversial world right now, and everybody is putting only its own narrative, right? I think that's also like one of the things. But I think like we have also like seen like another article. I think
as Tobias is bringing that, let me bring also another aspect on the ECB side article. They mocked El Salvador very interestingly, and they talked about El Salvador adopting the Bitcoin as a standard. And guess what? The Bitcoin price is going up, and El Salvador's bet is actually, I think, quite well paid for a country like that economy. And Bukele has, I think, I spoke to a number of people who have been there from Germany, who are actually living there in Latin market and travel to El Salvador. What he has done over there in terms of ensuring security, peace, and prosperity is actually helping the people locally, right? Now, for a lot of countries, maybe the way how it has been done is questioned, but I think his intention and the result is definitely something that is bringing some good results. So time will only tell, not every economy is equal, not every political structures are equal. So he had some very hard task in front of him, and I think he's doing a great job. And mocking by ECB like that, an article, it's an arrogance.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, like you said, where they put it, right? So they talked about criminals, and then they say, okay, like the sponsoring of the government in El Salvador of Bitcoin, right? So they put it like in the narrative of El Salvador being like a criminal state, while it's probably the opposite right now, because he was cleaning up like the mess. And the criminality went down dramatically, right? But I think that's also like a very interesting angle. And then there was like this FED on the website of the FED, this article. I will put it up here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just here. It's like here you see like from the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, and then there was a speech also 2 weeks ago on the dollar's international role, and I think that was like a very interesting point. I think maybe you can explain it, Arnab.
Yeah, I think this is very interesting because on one side we have ECB, the other side we have the Fed, kind of two transatlantic institutions have kind of similar responsibilities, and their perspectives are quite different here, right? Where here the Fed governor is mentioning that, and this is very interesting, a lot of politicians, quote unquote, and a lot of bureaucrats and banks talk about stable coins as a risk or to dollar, right? They say the stable coins like USD Tether and USDC are actually risking the dollar prominence, and also they are kind of they can actually question the dollar sovereignty and dollar's leading role, right? Well, precisely in this speech by the governor of Fed, the US Fed, he mentioned actually it's not, because most of the DeFi, the use of stable coins are actually, those stable coins are actually dollar anchored. So technically they are assisting in dollar adaptation, so adoption of dollar. That's actually key, because they're telling us not only, this is helping the dollar to be prominent in certain infrastructure marketplaces, but they're actually helping dollar to again gain back after this, all this war and everything, where de-dollarization is still a topic widely discussed, right? So that's a very interesting positive perspective. So an entity that is responsible for managing the financial stability, helping them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a total different narrative, and in the end, Tether is buying like tremendous treasury bonds, right? So they are definitely not going against like the dollar system in the end. And as long as Bitcoin is also mainly valued in US dollar, I think the dollar domination itself can be at least seen from a federal perspective, not really in danger, right?
Yeah.
I think like another thing what I noticed like this week is this like also related again to Bitcoin. I think I will also put this up. It's very, very interesting because there you see how progressive also like the big players are getting in. And I think there was a website of Fidelity, I think it's Fidelity Canada. I will put it on. All right. So that's like, these are not like Bitcoin ETFs or something like that. These are just like normal ETFs they are providing. And then you can see a little bit here, it's that they have like an allocation of crypto, right? So you can see here below, there's like even going up like to 3% in crypto for normal ETFs people can buy on the website. And I think there you can see already that the whole development is going in a total different direction, specifically also in North America. And I think like in Europe, we missed a little bit like this kind of development because like people want to have a diversification in the portfolio and definitely an exposure here to crypto. That I think it's a very interesting thing, and this you can find like on the normal Fidelity website. So these are not Bitcoin ETFs or crypto ETFs. These are just like very normal ETFs where they just like balance out like some part of the performance with actually crypto.
I think hopefully they put more in Bitcoin and not
crypto is a little bit
yeah.
Crypto is a little bit wide, and indeed I would assume that's anyhow Bitcoin.
Hopefully, yeah, fingers crossed.
All right.
Yeah, so I think the one interesting topic, Tobias, also what we touched upon the last episode, in episode number 9, is the Bitcoin inflows in ETFs, right? And it will be interesting to see where it developed, right? Because we were checking also before recording this that we got some very interesting net inflows. Yes, if we can go a bit down. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, the very interesting observation over here is the IBIT. Actually, there's the BlackRock's ETF. They have got a net inflows of around 7 billion, and the total actually the net inflows is 7.4 billion. The biggest outflows we can see there still is a trend is still there. It's a GBDC. GBDC is having still the highest outflows. And one interesting discussion me and Tobias were doing is why on 29th of February we saw such a huge outflows. We are not sure. So if you have any insights on that, would like to hear it, please put in the comment section, because that would be interesting to learn is why we saw such a huge outflow on 29th of February, that is yesterday, right?
Yeah, that would be really interesting. I also could not find anything about that end of month cleaning up, but that's just a wild guess, right? So it's maybe there's like a more in-depth explanation for these immense outflows on the last day of February. Yeah.
Okay, I think now as we are discussing on the Bitcoin side and those ETF inflows, one of the interesting product, Tobias, I think we launched and we worked with Blockstream, was Blockstream Mining Note back in 2021. And that was the product, like we are very proud of that product, and we are quite humbled by all the kind of interest from the investors that we received back in the days, right? That raised over 40 million between 2021 and 2022. This product is maturing in July 2024, so this year, and that has a huge amount of Bitcoin under management at the moment. It's more than 1,000 plus Bitcoin that is sitting there that will mature, and the payout season is coming for that product. Would like to discuss about the performance of the product in comparison to Bitcoin. That will be discussed in the next week, the next episode in that way, and we'll have some interesting guests. So please listen to the next episode also. That will help you to learn about what is a Bitcoin hash rate backed securities looks like and how it performs, because the mining, and we always internally when we did the projection, we always are interested to see how the mining and the Bitcoin kind of they interacts with each other, how the hash rate and the Bitcoin price also interacts with each other, right? And then people can actually get some diversification approach. You can buy and hodl Bitcoin. You can mine if you have the mining setup. If not, you can buy some public listed stocks, but then you take the risk of public companies, balance sheets, and all this kind of things. The alternative is then you can buy something like a hash rate backed securities, which is an infrastructure financing. So in the next episode, we'll discuss in details. So that's it for this week. We hope to hear your feedback. Please feel free to comment on the comment section. We're also interested to invite some new guests. So if you have any suggestion or recommendation, please also do so. But yeah, we expect the Bitcoin will have an interesting bull run case, and we are on the right. So see you next episode, and stay tuned.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.